Welcome to Lost Girl Therapy. Let's talk about how to find a job if you are somebody who has ADHD and you want to have a lot of creativity in your life. So, individuals with ADHD, we tend to have a lot of varied interests. We also tend to need creative outlets to kind of feel like our best selves. When we are in roles that do not have a lot of creativity, it can feel really stifling and we can begin to feel stagnant and or anxious. The stagnation kind of feels like I have just given up and this is what life is, and like I've accepted the fact that I am just in this role now. The anxiety is I can't be in this role, I absolutely hate it here, I need to get out and I gotta go. In between those two spaces is the fun middle ground of how do I figure out what I have an interest in creatively, and then how do I draw that into my current life until I'm ready to create a different version of it. Here's how I would do it. Take a sheet of paper, put yourself in the middle of it. Then around the outside of you, draw multiple circles, and within those circles, you are going to put the headings of all of your creative pursuits. So for me, I would put journaling, creative writing, singing, piano, yoga, and your current job. Under those headings, you are going to list all of the skills that those talents, hobbies, or roles afford you. So list every single skill that you can possibly think of. And then you're going to take the sheet of paper and you are going to just tape it behind your desk. So you should have yourself in the center with a bunch of lines coming out and a whole bunch of circles around with all of the headings of all of your major hobbies. And you're just going to stare at it for a week or 2 weeks. The reason being is that your subconscious now has to do the work. You're going to look at that thing every single day and your brain is going to start putting together the pieces of what you wrote down that you want to keep and what you want to get rid of. The second half of it is your brain is naturally going to start taking all of those skill sets and formulating another version of life. It's going to do it in its spare time. When you are asleep, when you're dreaming, when you're just zoning off, your brain is going to start being like, I wonder if life looked like this. And you are naturally going to start coming up with different roles or different jobs that you would eventually want to try out. The part 2 to this is after you have left this sheet up behind your desk for a week or 2 weeks, you're going to go back and you're going to remove all of the skill sets that you actually don't want to keep, or you're going to start redefining what you initially wrote. So you may have said, in my current role, I have a highly people forward style of work. And I don't want that. I want to be involved. I want to be around people. I want to have a network, but I do not want to be very client facing. So you're going to redefine that. And then when you do the second iteration of this, you're going to have all of your bubbles with all the same headings, and you're going to have your new list of skill sets beneath it. After you have left that on your wall for about 2 weeks, and you feel super firm and super solid, you're then going to go and you're going to ask yourself, in an ideal world, if I waved my magic wand, what would my life look like? You don't necessarily need to ask, what is my role? Just, what would my life look like based on this? This is where you're going to vision board it. Go to the store, get a massive poster, and vision board your life based on these orbs and the skill sets that are included in it. The reason being is that when we typically manifest, or when we do a vision board, especially with ADHD, we go big picture, and it can kind of be overwhelming. We can look 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, 5 years down the line. You need to take the tangible skills of today, and you're going to create a vision board only for 6 months to a year out. Because everything that is on that initial sheet of paper is fundamental to your present day life. And then you are going to vision board from that. The combination of these two things, so the actual written words plus the imagery, is going to enhance your ability to start to decipher what role you want next. You're going to start to see that you might come up with 25 different roles, but if you leave that up for a month and you look at it every day, you're going to narrow it down to 2. You're going to start trying on these different roles using imagination when you're daydreaming, when you're just on your way to work. And you're going to start to play out, how do I integrate certain aspects that are on this initial sheet into my daily life? AKA, how can I take my current life and make it work until I am ready to shift into the next role? So instead of the impulsivity, instead of the uncertainty, instead of the kind of jumpiness that we can feel, especially with ADHD when we don't feel comfortable in our setting, what you're going to find is that you can move into another role, or you can try on different roles, easing the anxiety and gaining more clarity about where you want to go next.